Good afternoon and welcome to this Wednesday, November 28th edition of Westman Newsline. I'm Randy Joseph Lilly alongside Dylan Donald and Colton Yarich. Today we'll take a look at some possible solutions to ensure there's more affordable housing and bring you the tale of a longtime local businessman that's working feverishly at this time of year. And Dylan will be in with sports. Dylan, I heard the Baseball Hall of Fame could be enhanced by certain players.
I see what you did there, Randy. Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds are now eligible to be elected into the Hall of Fame. I'll have that information and more later on in sports.
Thanks, Dylan. And Colton will be in with weather. Colton, I gave you 20 seconds yesterday and you took 25. What gives?
It's all about the screen time, baby. We weathermen have to be both hot and cool, and that takes time and talent. Currently in Brandon, it's cloudy at -9, but the wind chill makes it feel more like -14. Winds are out of the west at 22 kilometers per hour. That's it for now, but I'll be back later in the show with your full weather details.
Thanks, Colton. Bad news, housing costs and monthly rent are increasing in Brandon. Good news, something has been implemented to try and alleviate that pressure for low-income households. The province has made some legislative changes to allow for more affordable housing around Manitoba. According to Brandon Mayor Sherry Decter-Hurst, this will allow for more than just all or nothing in the city when it comes to the range of options made available to moderate-income families. The City of Brandon now has the authority to make it mandatory for new residential developments to include homes that are affordable for lower-income households. Municipalities have the ability to take an incentive-based or hybrid approach to requiring affordable housing through inclusionary zoning in hopes of creating integrated neighborhoods that allow for a blend of diverse income levels. The city has been working on an affordable housing strategy since 2007, and a plan will be presented to council early in the new year. From affordable housing to affordable furniture, people living near Winnipeg's new IKEA store say they fear traffic chaos as eager shoppers flock to the popular store. The Swedish furniture retailer opened the Winnipeg location to much hype and excitement this morning. Traffic in the area has grown from 43,000 vehicles a day in 2002 to more than 60,000 vehicles a day today. City officials say they've made upgrades to roads in the vicinity in anticipation of IKEA and other large commercial developments opening there. There could soon be a deal to see the old Capyong Barracks in Winnipeg turned into an urban reserve. A court battle over the property has delayed development of the site, but that could soon be coming to an end. Chief Donovan Fontaine of the Sag-King First Nation says they're trying to take a practical approach and move negotiations along. He says if a deal is reached, the First Nations would enter into a partnership with Ottawa. A holiday tradition has come to an end for Liquor Commission workers in Manitoba. The Canadian press has learned that the government-run agency is no longer offering its employees an annual sale of discount booze. Every year, the agency let workers buy bottles of wine, beer, and spirits that were too damaged to be sold in stores. The Workers' Union has filed a grievance asking for the sale to be reinstated. With rifle season for white-tailed deer hunting over as of this past Sunday, many hunters are quickly looking to get their prized trophies mounted. A local taxidermist is hard at work, and Newsline's Dylan Donald went to his shop to file this report.
Bow hunting, muzzleloader, and now rifle season for hunting white-tailed deer are over once again. This time of year is especially busy for Scott Holman, a local taxidermist who has been doing this for 20+ years and embraces the extra work.
All the fresh stuff coming in, plus I'm trying to do my regular stuff to get my finished products out too, so in hunting season I'm really busy.
Taxidermy is something that not a lot of people may understand, but to put it into perspective, not only does Holman mount bears, moose, cougars, and many other animals, deer season is his busiest time of year.
Anywhere from 40 to 60, 70. Maybe not all deer heads, like full heads, but probably 40 to 60 deer. You know, that's from horns to skulls to full shoulder mounts.
For the 60 heads Holman receives from his clients, he puts in approximately 15 hours per head, depending on the style of mount. Once Holman receives the deer, he removes the horns and to skin the flesh from the hide. The hide is then sent to a tannery that is out of Winnipeg, where that process can take up to 3 months. Once the hide returns, he is able to complete the mount and get
Apologies for the technical difficulties, but we'll move from one type of bucks to another on where the ones on the money markets are currently sitting.
Westman Newsline, produced by the IMA Media Production students of Assiniboine Community College. Local news, weather, and sports on Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline, airing at 1 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on WCG TV.
Reporter Ahmed Rafat attended Tuesday night's protests in Cairo against Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi's move to extend his powers. He knew the route of the protesters' march, which began in Giza, south of Cairo, and headed to Tahrir Square, so he positioned himself on a bridge to capture the hordes of people. He shared this video. "The atmosphere last night was great," he said. "There were people of all ages, men and women, people of different backgrounds. I saw people who had never been taken to the streets before." Clashes around Cairo's Tahrir Square continued on Wednesday, and further protests are expected on Friday in the country. 2 car bombs in Syria have exploded simultaneously, killing at least 34 people. A Syrian human rights group says dozens more were injured. The blasts occurred in the eastern Damascus district of Jaramana Wednesday. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the death toll could rise because many of the injuries were serious. The highly anticipated Lord of the Rings prequel, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, is premiering in New Zealand's capital city of Wellington, and it's generating no small measure of Hobbit mania. The city has renamed itself the Middle of Middle-earth for the event after J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy realm, and thousands of fans are swarming the streets hoping for a glimpse of the movie stars. Maddie McLean from CNN affiliate TVNZ is in prime position in Wellington.
If I had told you everything there was to know.
Oh, Baggins, I'm looking for someone to share in.
Running off into the blue. I am a Baggins. Wait! Of Baggend.
You'll have a tale or two to tell when you come back.
Can you promise that I will come back?
Oh, we got plenty of photos here.
That's all for news, but stick around. Colton will be in with weather next.
Good afternoon with Newsline Weather. I'm Colton Yarge. Well, the mystery we call the weather won't decide what it's going to do until the weekend. Currently in Brandon, it's cloudy and -9. That wind chill makes it feel more like -14. Winds are out of the west at 22 kilometers per hour. This evening, skies will remain cloudy with the temperature hanging around -14, and winds will be out of the northeast at 15 kilometers per hour. That cloud coverage will continue on overnight, and the temperature will dip down a degree to -15. Winds will be out of the northeast at 15 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at our radar image, as you can see, there are very few precipitous clouds in the area. Russell can expect some flurries drifting up from the Mooseman area. And turning to our satellite image, as you can see, a lot of heavy cloud making its way across the prairies from the west coast. In Brandon, we can expect to see some of it in the coming days. And taking a look at our 5-day forecast, tomorrow looks a little better than it did in yesterday's forecast. A high of -9, a low of -17. Winds will be out of the east at 20 kilometers per hour. About 1 to 3 centimeters of snow is expected. Things will smarten up for the weekend and Friday, making way for mild temperatures hovering around 0, and not much wind is expected. Even Mother Nature will feel a bad case of the Mondays, since about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow is expected. The high is -4, the low is -8. Winds will be out of the west at 25 kilometers per hour. Taking a look around the region right now, Winnipeg is in at -10. Portage is sitting at -13. Meanwhile, Dauphin is -9. Neepawa is sitting at -5, Carberry -8, Killarney -3, Minnedosa checks in at -7, and Verdun will round us out at -5. Seasonal norms for this time of year are a high of -6 and a low of -15. The record high for this date was 8.1 set a decade ago in 2002, and our record low was a frosty -31.4 set back in 1985. Once again in Brandon, it is -9 with a cloudy sky. That wind chill makes it feel more like -14. Winds are out of the west at 22 kilometers per hour. That's it for weather, but stick around. Dylan's up next with Newsline Sports.
Good afternoon with Newsline Sports. I'm Dylan Donald. The Canada Cup is currently underway at the Messiah Place in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Things kicked off today with some Manitoba talent taking to the ice in key early matchups. Former Team Canada skip Jennifer Jones faced Crystal Webster's squad this morning and came away with a 9-7 victory. Other Manitobans in action today, Jeff Stoughton just finished up his opening match, defeating favorite Glenn Howard 9-5. Levi Buse scored twice as the Swift Current Broncos ended a 3-game losing streak with a 5-3 win over the Brandon Wheat Kings in Western Hockey League action Tuesday night. Buse opened the scoring on the power play in the first, and Swift Current improves to 10-12-5, and they scored 3 times in 5 minutes in the second period, with defenseman Reese Scarlett and Buse notching goals each, while Josh Durko followed with his 3rd goal of the season to make it 4-1. The Broncos extended their lead to 5-1 in the 3rd period, with Ryan Moser tipped home his 6th of the year on the power play, as Swift Current went 2 for 2 with the man advantage. Richard Nejes-Sleb scored in the 1st and 3rd periods for the Wheat Kings, giving him 3 for the season, while Brandon's Alessio Bertaggia cut the Broncos' lead to 2 when he counted his team-leading 15th goal with less than 5 minutes left in the game. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Sammy Sosa are set to appear on the Hall of Fame ballot for the first time, and fans will soon find out whether drug allegations can block the former stars from reaching baseball's shrine. The ballot will be officially announced Wednesday, with Craig Biggio, Mike Piazza, and Curt Schilling are certain to be among the other first-time eligible players. Jack Morris, Jeff Bagwell, and Tim Raines are the top holdover candidates from last year. Members of the Baseball Writers Association of America will vote through next month. The much-awaited results will finally be announced January the 9th. Bonds, Clemens, and Sosa each posted some of the biggest numbers in the game's history, but were all tainted by accusations they used performance-enhancing drugs. Golf is proposing to ban the putting stroke used by 3 of the last 5 major champions. The sport's ruling bodies announced a new rule on Wednesday that would make it illegal to anchor the club in making a stroke. The proposed rule is aimed at belly putters and long putters that are pressed against the body. Officials say the golf stroke should be a free swing, and anchoring a club eliminates part of the skill. The rule would not be applied would be applied to all golfers at every level, but not taking effect until 2016. Talks between the NHL and the NHL Players Association resumed today with help of an impartial third party. The 2 sides are expected to meet separately with the U.S. federal mediators in an effort to end the labor dispute that's now into its 11th week. The mediation will be non-binding, meaning the sides will not be forced to go along with suggestions or recommendations made by the mediators. Allowing U.S. federal mediators into the process was something the NHL tried without success on a couple of other occasions prior to the cancellation of the 2004-2005 season. Gary Bettman has said the league is losing as much as $20 million per day during the lockout. And Randy, that's all for sports.
Thanks, Dylan. And that's all the time we have for you today. Please join us again tomorrow for Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline.